Have you ever looked at your life and wondered why some people seem to achieve extraordinary things while others spend years feeling stuck? Have you ever felt the frustration of knowing you're capable of more, yet somehow you keep falling short of the person you want to become? Maybe you've watched others succeed and asked yourself, what do they have that I don't? More talent, more intelligence, more opportunities. The truth is, success is rarely determined by any of those things, because every day there are talented people who never achieve their potential. There are intelligent people who never pursue their dreams. And there are people with incredible opportunities who still fail to create meaningful lives. What separates successful people from everyone else is something far more powerful. It's the way they think. It's their mindset. A winning mindset. The ability to stay focused when others become distracted. The ability to keep going when others decide to quit. The ability to see possibilities where others only see obstacles. The ability to believe in themselves even when nobody else does. The challenge is that most people are trying to build a successful life with an unsuccessful mindset. They want confidence without discipline. They want results without consistency. They want greatness without growth. And when things become difficult, they assume something is wrong with them, but nothing is wrong with them. They simply haven't trained their minds to think like winners. Because winning is not an event. It is not a trophy. It is not a title. It is not a destination. Winning is a way of thinking. A way of responding to challenges, a way of showing up when life becomes difficult, a way of choosing discipline over comfort, growth over fear, and purpose over excuses. And the beautiful thing about a winning mindset is that nobody is born with it. It can be learned. It can be developed. It can be strengthened, just like a muscle. Today, I want to show you how successful people think differently, how they overcome doubt, how they stay focused under pressure, how they keep moving forward when everything around them tells them to stop. Because the moment you change the way you think, you begin changing the way you live. And when you build a winning mindset, you stop waiting for success to happen to you and start becoming the person capable of creating it. Winning does not begin when you achieve a goal. It begins long before anyone sees the result. It begins in the mind. Every achievement, every success story, every breakthrough starts with a way of thinking. Before a person changes their life, they must first change the beliefs, attitudes, and habits that guide their decisions. This is why two people can face the exact same challenge and produce completely different outcomes. The difference is often not talent or opportunity. The difference is mindset. Most people believe success is something that happens externally. They think winning is about money, recognition, status, or accomplishments. But true winning starts internally. It starts with the way you respond to adversity, the way you interpret failure, and the way you view your own potential. A person who has already developed a winning mindset can lose everything and still find a way forward because their greatest asset exists inside them. The mind is powerful because it influences every action you take. If you believe you are incapable, you will hesitate when opportunities appear. If you believe failure defines you, you will avoid taking risks. If you believe success belongs to other people, you will never fully commit to your own growth. Your thoughts shape your actions, and your actions eventually shape your future. Many people spend years trying to change their circumstances without changing their mindset. They want better results while holding onto limiting beliefs. They want confidence while constantly doubting themselves. They want success while focusing on excuses. But life changes when thinking changes. The moment you begin believing growth is possible, you start behaving differently. You become more willing to learn, adapt, and take action. A winning mindset also understands that setbacks are not permanent. Most people see obstacles as signs to stop. Winners see obstacles as challenges to overcome. They understand that difficulties are part of the process. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? They ask, what can this teach me? That shift in thinking creates resilience because every problem becomes an opportunity to grow stronger. Confidence is also rooted in mindset. Confident people are not always the most talented people in the room. They are often the people who trust their ability to learn, improve, and recover from mistakes. They do not expect perfection. They expect progress. That expectation keeps them moving forward even when results are delayed. When you build a winning mindset, you stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop allowing fate to make decisions for you. You begin focusing on possibilities instead of limitations. Over time, your habits improve, your discipline strengthens, and your actions become aligned with your goals because winning was never something that started on the outside. It always started in the mind. Take full responsibility for your life. Those words may sound simple, but they are among the most powerful principles for building a winning mindset. The moment you accept complete responsibility for where you are and where you are going, everything begins to change. Most people spend years blaming circumstances, other people, bad luck, their past, or situations beyond their control. While some challenges are real and difficult, a mindset focused on blame rarely creates progress. Responsibility creates power because it shifts attention away from excuses and toward action. Many people believe responsibility is a burden, but in reality it is freedom. When you blame something outside yourself, you also give away your ability to change the situation. If your life is controlled by other people, then your future depends on them. If your success depends entirely on circumstances, then you become a victim of those circumstances. But when you take responsibility, you reclaim control. You begin focusing on what you can influence instead of what you cannot. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for every problem. It means accepting ownership of your response to those problems. You may not control what happens to you, but you always control how you react. Challenges, setbacks, criticism, and failures are part of life. The difference is that successful people refuse to let those experiences define their future. They take responsibility for learning, adapting, and moving forward. One of the biggest obstacles to success is the habit of making excuses. Excuses provide temporary comfort because they protect the ego. They make failure feel easier to accept. But every excuse comes with a cost. It delays growth. It weakens discipline. It convinces the mind that change is impossible. Over time, excuses become a habit that keeps people trapped in the same place year after year. Responsible people think differently. When something goes wrong, they do not immediately search for someone to blame. Instead, they ask what they can do better. They look for lessons instead of excuses. They focus on solutions instead of complaints. This mindset creates growth because every challenge becomes an opportunity to improve. Responsibility also builds confidence. Every time you take ownership of your actions, decisions, and habits, you strengthen trust in yourself. You stop waiting for someone else to fix your problems. You stop expecting life to become easier before you take action. You become proactive instead of reactive. A winning mindset understands that success begins the moment you stop pointing outward and start looking inward. The more responsibility you accept, the more power you gain over your future. You begin creating results instead of reacting to circumstances, building discipline instead of excuses, and taking control of a life that is ultimately shaped by the choices you make every single day. Discipline is the foundation of success because it allows people to keep moving forward long after motivation disappears. Many people believe success is created by inspiration, talent, or passion alone. While those things can be helpful, they are unreliable. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you feel excited and ready to work. Other days you feel tired, discouraged, or distracted. If your progress depends entirely on how you feel, your results will always be inconsistent. Discipline is what keeps you moving when emotions try to pull you in the opposite direction. A winning mindset understands that feelings cannot always be trusted. There will be mornings when you do not feel like working. There will be moments when quitting seems easier than continuing. There will be times when results are slow and effort feels unnoticed. Discipline is the ability to stay committed during those moments. It is choosing action over excuses and consistency over comfort. The reason discipline is so powerful is because it creates reliability. Successful people do not achieve great things because they occasionally work hard. They achieve great things because they repeatedly show up day after day, regardless of how they feel. They build habits that support their goals and continue following those habits even when enthusiasm fades. Over time, those small daily actions create extraordinary results. Many people underestimate the impact of small disciplines. They focus only on major achievements while ignoring the daily behaviors that make those achievements possible. Waking up on time, staying focused, honoring commitments, learning consistently, and managing distractions may seem small in isolation. But repeated over months and years, those actions shape character, mindset, and future outcomes. Discipline also builds self-respect. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen trust within your own mind. When you say you will do something and follow through, you prove that your words have value. But every broken promise weakens confidence because the mind begins doubting your commitment. This is why disciplined people often appear more confident. Their confidence is built on evidence created through consistent action. A disciplined person is difficult to stop because they are not controlled by temporary emotions. They understand that comfort rarely leads to growth. They know that progress often requires sacrifice, patience, and persistence. While others wait for the perfect moment, disciplined people continue working. Success is rarely the result of one big decision. It is usually the result of hundreds of disciplined choices made over time. The ability to stay focused, consistent, and committed creates momentum that eventually separates successful people from those who constantly start and stop. When discipline becomes part of your identity, success stops feeling like luck and starts becoming the natural outcome of the standards you choose to live by every day. Developing unshakable self-belief is one of the most important parts of building a winning mindset. Without self-belief, talent often goes unused, opportunities are ignored, and potential remains hidden. Many people spend their lives waiting for confidence to appear before they take action. They think successful people were born believing in themselves, but that is rarely true. Self-belief is not something you are given. It is something you build through experience, discipline, and repeated action. The biggest mistake people make is waiting until they feel confident before they begin. Confidence does not come first. Action comes first. Every successful person has experienced fear, uncertainty, and self-doubt. The difference is that they chose to move forward despite those feelings. Each time they faced a challenge, took a risk, or pushed beyond their comfort zone, they collected evidence that they were capable of more than they once believed. Self-belief is strengthened by the promises you keep to yourself. Every time you commit to something and follow through, you increase trust in your own abilities. When you say you will wake up early, work hard, improve your skills, or stay disciplined, and then actually do it, your mind begins to recognize you as someone who can be trusted. But when promises are constantly broken, self-doubt grows because the mind stops believing your words. Many people also struggle with self-belief because they compare themselves to others. They spend so much time looking at someone else's success that they forget to focus on their own progress. Comparison creates insecurity because it shifts attention away from growth and toward perceived shortcomings. A winning mindset understands that the only meaningful comparison is between who you were yesterday and who you are becoming today. Failure often plays an important role in developing self-belief. Most people see failure as proof that they are not good enough. Strong-minded individuals see it differently. They understand that failure is part of learning. Every mistake provides feedback. Every setback teaches a lesson. Instead of allowing failure to weaken confidence, they use it to become stronger and wiser. Unshakable self-belief does not mean you never experience doubt. It means doubt no longer controls your decisions. You trust your ability to learn, adapt, and recover regardless of what happens. You understand that challenges are temporary, but growth is permanent. This mindset creates resilience because your confidence is no longer dependent on perfect results or outside validation. When self-belief becomes strong, you stop seeking permission to pursue your goals. You stop allowing fear of failure to determine your future. You begin taking action with conviction, trusting that even if the path becomes difficult, you have the strength, determination, and ability to keep moving forward toward the life you want to create. Failure is one of the most misunderstood parts of success. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid it because they associate failure with weakness, embarrassment, or defeat. They fear making mistakes, looking foolish, or proving themselves incapable. As a result, they stay inside their comfort zones where they feel safe. But the truth is that success and failure are not opposites. They are partners. Every successful person you admire has failed countless times on the journey to achieving their goals. A winning mindset understands that failure is not the end of the story. It is information. It is feedback. It is a lesson that reveals what works and what does not. When people view failure as a permanent judgment of their abilities, they become discouraged and quit. But when they view failure as an opportunity to learn, they gain something valuable from every setback. Think about any skill you have ever developed. Whether it was learning to walk, ride a bicycle, play a sport, or master a profession, mistakes were part of the process. Nobody begins as an expert. Growth happens through trial and error. The problem is that many adults expect perfection from themselves immediately. When they encounter difficulties, they interpret those challenges as proof that they are not capable, when in reality, they are simply experiencing the normal process of improvement. Failure also builds resilience. Every setback forces you to develop patience, adaptability, and mental toughness. Challenges reveal weaknesses that need attention and strengths that may have remained hidden. People who never experience difficulty often struggle when life becomes demanding because they have never developed the emotional strength that adversity creates. One of the biggest differences between successful people and unsuccessful people is how they respond to failure. Unsuccessful people often personalize it. They say, "I failed, therefore I am a failure." Successful people separate the event from their identity. They understand that a failed attempt does not define who they are. It simply means they need to adjust their approach and continue moving forward. Every setback contains an opportunity if you are willing to look for it. Some failures teach patience. Others teach discipline, preparation, humility, or persistence. Many of life's greatest lessons arrive disguised as disappointments. The people who succeed are usually the ones who remain open to learning even when circumstances become difficult. When you begin turning failures into opportunities, fear loses much of its power. You stop seeing mistakes as disasters and start seeing them as part of the journey. Instead of avoiding challenges, you become willing to embrace them because you understand that every obstacle carries the potential to make you stronger, wiser, and better prepared for the success you are working toward. Staying focused while others get distracted is one of the defining characteristics of a winning mindset. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Social media, entertainment, notifications, opinions, trends, and endless information compete for attention every second of the day. Most people allow these distractions to control their focus without even realizing it. They start each day with good intentions, but end up giving their energy to things that do not move them closer to their goals. The challenge is that distractions are rarely obvious. They often appear harmless in the moment. A few minutes on social media turns into an hour. A quick break becomes an entire afternoon lost. Small distractions seem insignificant individually, but over time they create massive consequences. They steal momentum, weaken discipline, and make it difficult to achieve meaningful progress. A winning mindset understands that focus is one of the most valuable resources a person possesses. Where attention goes, energy follows. If your attention is constantly scattered, your progress will be scattered as well. But when your attention is concentrated on meaningful goals, growth accelerates. Successful people protect their focus because they know that every distraction comes with a hidden cost. Many people become distracted because they are constantly looking at what everyone else is doing. They compare their progress, chase trends, and seek validation from others. This creates confusion because their attention becomes divided between their own goals and other people's lives. Winners think differently. They remain connected to their vision regardless of what is happening around them. They understand that comparison and distraction often go hand in hand. Staying focused also requires learning how to tolerate boredom. Modern culture encourages constant stimulation. People have become so accustomed to entertainment that many struggle to spend time working quietly toward long-term goals. Yet some of the greatest achievements are built during ordinary moments of consistent effort. Focused people are willing to do the repetitive work that others avoid because they understand that mastery requires patience. There will always be distractions competing for your attention. There will always be reasons to delay, excuses to quit, and opportunities to take the easy path. But a winning mindset remains committed to the bigger picture. It keeps moving forward even when distractions seem attractive. Over time, the ability to stay focused while others become distracted creates a powerful advantage. Skills improve faster, habits become stronger, and progress becomes more consistent. While others lose time chasing temporary pleasures, focused individuals continue building the future they want. Eventually, the gap becomes impossible to ignore because success often belongs to those who remain committed long after everyone else has allowed distractions to pull them away from their purpose. A winning mindset is ultimately defined by how you think, act, and perform every single day. It is not something that appears in a moment of success, but something that is built through repeated decisions over time. Thinking, acting, and performing like a winner means aligning your mindset, behavior, and effort toward a clear standard of excellence, regardless of circumstances or emotions. Thinking like a winner starts with perspective. Most people think in limitations. They focus on what they lack, what could go wrong, and why something is difficult. A winner trains the mind to focus on possibilities instead of problems. This does not mean ignoring reality, but choosing to look for solutions instead of excuses. When challenges appear, the first thought is not defeat, but adaptation. This type of thinking builds resilience because the mind becomes solution-oriented rather than fear-driven. Acting like a winner requires discipline and consistency. Thoughts alone are not enough without execution. Many people have strong ideas and ambitions, but they fail because their actions do not match their intentions. Winners act even when they do not feel like it. They understand that emotions are temporary, but actions create long-term identity. Every small action, whether positive or negative, contributes to the direction of a life. Acting like a winner means choosing effort over comfort repeatedly, even in moments of resistance. Performing like a winner is the result of repeated thinking and acting aligned over time. Performance is not about occasional success, but consistent output. When mindset and behavior are aligned, performance becomes more stable and reliable. Mistakes still happen, setbacks still occur, but performance improves because there is a system behind it. Winners do not depend on random bursts of motivation. They depend on habits, routines, and standards that guide their performance daily. Many people underestimate how much identity is shaped by repetition. If you repeatedly think negatively, act inconsistently, and avoid challenges, that becomes your identity. But if you repeatedly think constructively, act with discipline, and perform with focus, that also becomes your identity. Over time, you do not just behave like a winner, you begin to see yourself as one. The difference between ordinary results and extraordinary success often comes down to alignment. When thinking, acting, and performing all move in the same direction, progress becomes natural. There is less internal conflict, more clarity, and stronger momentum. Instead of fighting against yourself, you begin working with yourself, and that alignment creates a powerful foundation for long-term success.